Hi everyone, good evening. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi coming live to you from Los Angeles, California to discuss U.S. immigration. Your questions coming here live on TikTok, immigration lawyer John, and on Instagram, JQK Law Firm's Instagram page, and here live on YouTube as well, along with the recording of this on YouTube with the JQK Law Firm. Looking forward to have a good discussion, take your questions live here for the next half hour, 5 p.m. Pacific, every Wednesday, where I go over U.S. immigration questions and all the headaches associated with it, which are many. It's getting more and more every day. As a reminder, this is general immigration information only, not intended for individual legal advice. You should contact and consult with an immigration lawyer in private for that. And as a reminder, if you're interested in doing a family-based, marriage-based, in particular, fiancé marriage kind of green card case, download for free the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com and download the 40 or 41 page guide that breaks down the whole system to develop a strategy. And from there, contact an immigration lawyer once you know the basics, so you can have a higher level discussion with the attorney you're talking with because you're knowledgeable about the system already. I think that will be the best resource to start with when you're thinking about a case like that. So with that, let's get it started. All right, I think we had a question pop up already. Random guy asked, not an immigrant question, but I'm 21 years old. Is it too late to start going to law? No, 21 is not a bad age. I mean, people go to law school at 31 even. So it's just more of, is this what you want to do? It's if you're a person that can handle the business side of it, get clients, and it's more personality things. So you should talk to a mentor in private about that. But the age is not a big deal. In fact, you're 21. Usually that's the age. I went to law school when I was 21, so it's not too late because you got to deal with college first. So 3 or 4 years of that. I think I was 21, 22 when I started law school. So it's not about too late to start. It's about kind of too early maybe because I went through the same thing. On Instagram, Shokrola asks, can a parent bring their daughter over 21 while having a green card? Yes, if your daughter is single and remains single while the parent has a green card, they can apply for them. But it's going to take a couple years. I can't remember exactly how much it is right now, but it's going to take at least 4 or 5 years or more. So be prepared for that. But it's possible for a green card holder to bring their child here, adult child. It's better that actually they file for the child when they have the green card as opposed to when they have citizenship. Because citizenship takes a little bit longer. But I've had people make that mistake before. They thought they had to wait till they become a citizen to apply for their child. That's not the case. The only difference is a U.S. citizen can apply for their child who's married, but a green card holder can't. So if a green card holder has a child who's married, they can't apply for them. Or if they have started a case and it's pending, and the child ends up getting married while it's pending, that voids out the case. It cancels out the case. So you got to be very careful of that. I've seen that issue pop up a lot. All right, thank you for joining. Gets asked, it's been 3 years from my wife's paperwork. How can I expedite that? I don't know. I don't know why your case is taking this long, what kind of issues exist, and probably is no way to expedite, but we got to see why it's taking like that in the first place. You also mentioned you're a U.S. citizen. It's one factor, but we got to look at the whole thing to see why that would be the case. Random guy says, when my aunt came from Thailand, her daughter had to wait a year before she could come. There could be many different reasons why. I don't know what to tell you. Koki asks, hello, can you please tell me how long it will take for a green card? No, I can't. It varies depending on a lot of different factors, so I wouldn't be able to help you with that. And Keith says, hi, is it possible to transfer the underlying I-140 pending I-485? I am filing I-485 with I-140 EB3, and my spouse might get approved at E1 in the near future. There's a lot going on in your question. If you're doing an employment-based case like that and you're making money, or your employer's filing, you should talk with them and see what the details are. There's just a lot going into that. Getch is unusual. Everything is usual and unusual immigration. I can't answer that. Harid asks, what happens to your H-1B status until your I-485 approved? My wife is dependent and she has H-1B too. Well, once you file for, Harry, I think this is not a perfect answer because I'm not sure the situation. Once you file for your adjustment of status, you could quit your job and just hang out. But if your H-1B is pending, you could continue on that, or you could even extend it with an H-1B because it's what's called a dual intent visa. I'm not going to go into why that's important and all that. But when you apply for adjustment of status, you should probably file for your work permit. It'll give you more flexibility. That's just a general answer, but I need to have a private consultation to go into that in more detail to see exactly how it fits your case. All right, YouTube, we have a question from Tanya. She has, good evening. As a permanent resident, can I file for a spouse if my income is through worker compensation? When you are applying for sponsoring a spouse or relative, you have to show you have income that's consistently going to be there. The best way is a job, because it's a job. A worker compensation, I don't know, I haven't dealt with a case like that. I would be hesitant to do that because it looks like there may be an end date for that. So it's not like it's a continuous thing flow of income. You can maybe argue it. It's not, there's so many different things that could happen. There's so many different situations. It's hard to know all of them, and so they can't make rules that really go to each of them. I wouldn't feel comfortable filing a case based on workers' compensation. I would want some more hardcore. Maybe get a joint sponsor, maybe show assets. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. I'd be hesitant to do workers' compensation, but I don't know the exact workers' compensation scheme that you have. If it's something that says you get paid, $3,000 every month for the rest of your life, yeah, that's fine. But if it's something that says for the next 6 months they can give you $10,000, that's not good, because that's going to end. So I need more information than just the title of what you got. I need to see the paperwork, and I need to see the stubs, the pay stubs, the records, the taxes. You got to analyze the whole situation to be able to answer a question like that. But thanks for asking anyway. So let's see. I think what happens. Okay, we answered that. Thank you for joining us coming in. There's been a lot of changes in immigration that are happening constantly. We talked about last time about the public charge will come into place when you're adjusting status. The filing fees are on hold, at least for now. We'll see what happens. President Trump is trying to demolish the H-1B system, making it much more difficult to do, much more expensive. And so that's a big hit to a lot of people. There's a lot of lawsuits putting things on hold. Some judges are saying that the head of the Department of Homeland Security was illegally placed into their role, so everything they do is potentially illegal, and that might undo a bunch years worth of stuff the president has done with the immigration system. So that's going to be groundbreaking if that gets approved and it goes forward. So it's a wild situation. Santa Fe asks, are the changes to affidavit support in effect already? Well, sadly, there's different types of changes that have different times, so it depends on which ones you're asking for. If it's about the joint sponsor having to get biometrics, no, that hasn't come into effect, but there's other stuff that goes into that. Tonya says, thank you, answer makes logical sense. You're welcome, Tonya. I hope we could figure it out. I hope you're doing okay. You got works compensation. That's not good. I hope you're feeling okay. Sirtash says, hi, I want to, and then you don't finish the sentence. Alex says, did Trump make things tougher? Yes, unbelievably tougher. One extremely successful area that Trump had in the last those 3 or 4 years has been immigration. He's pretty much imploded the immigration system internally. So everything is difficult. Nothing, even like things that should be guaranteed are not guaranteed. It's never a guarantee, but things that are super easy are extremely hard. It's devastating what President Trump did to the immigration system of the United States. I never would have thought he'd be that successful. We have questions about the embassies opening. I don't have answers to that. Sirtak says, hi, I want to ask if my I-130 in process, I want my husband to visit me. Is it possible? They can always try to get a visa to visit, and if they get it, it's up to the port officer at the airport whether they're going to let him in. Faith asks, if you get U.S. naturalization but had years remaining on your green card, can you automatically go back to green card if you become a citizen of another country? No, it doesn't work that way. Let's see. Adi asks, if I'm a resident and I've applied for my husband to come to the U.S. Since it's taking too long, can my husband apply for a family reunion? There's no such thing as applying for a family reunion, so they just have to wait, unfortunately. We have some questions on YouTube I want to get to. Oscar asks, I'm undocumented. Can I get a green card without leaving the country if I didn't enter legally? It's very rare exceptions that allow you to get a green card if you're entered without permission in the United States. There's one thing called TPS, and if you leave and come back with advanced parole, in some jurisdictions, some sections of the United States, if you had DACA and you got advanced parole, came in maybe. And these are if you married a U.S. citizen, for example, or have a U.S. citizen children over 21. So there's a lot of nuances. There's a VAWA claim. So there's a lot of information and a lot of special situations that have to pop up in there for you to be able to apply for a green card while in the United States if you didn't enter without permission. AKA asks, what happens if I send my case I-130 spouse without the public charge papers? They could reject it, deny it. So they're saying after the 13th, which is today's 14th, so it's gone. So if you send it in without that, there's a good chance they'll reject the case, or they may take the money, then deny it. So you don't really want to send, now not the I-130. The I-130 you could send on its own. It's the I-485 application for adjustment of status, and your spouse is submitting that. So we got to be very specific what you're saying here. Exactly what you're saying, I-130, you can send out a standalone. That's not a big deal. But if you send I-485 adjustment of status, for that you will have to submit the I-944. Sephora says, any updates on OPT? Yes and no. It depends on exactly what you're looking for. Jignish asks, what's the maximum number of visa USCIS can issue in 1 month? USCIS cannot issue any visas. It's the embassies to do that. So yeah, but there's green card categories, if that's what you're talking about. And when it comes to non-immigrant visa categories, there's no limitation except for maybe the H-1B or the H categories that have limitations. When it comes to green cards, there's a statutory number that goes to it. And so yeah, so you answer 2661,000. I don't know the exact numbers. I don't follow it. So sorry, green card. Yeah, so there's a breakdown of how many green cards in each category, how many each year, and stuff like that. I don't keep track of these numbers. It doesn't affect my work, any of the questions here, other than just for fun. Olivia asks, are the prevailing wage updates put forward by Trump for H-1 visa now in place? And does that affect only new H-1Bs or existing ones too? Do employers have to increase our wages? So what Trump did is said if a foreign person wants to get work here, they have to pay the highest level amount before they could do it. It affects all new cases. If you already have the wage determination, it won't affect you, but if any new ones, it will. So that's a mess. It's not the kind of case I handle, so I'm not an expert on that one, but that's something that's popping up. Getcha says, my wife's case was processed completely at NBC and was transferred to Bombay Consulate in India. Well, hopefully you get that interview and get her here. Hanachi asks, I filed for my N400. They said now I need to make an online account to access in 90 days. I'll go ahead and do that if you want the online account. JJ says, I'm planning to apply for E2 visa from Canada. Well, good luck. Definitely consult a lawyer before you do that. Getcha just follows up, and now I'm contacting Bombay, asking me to contact NBC. What should I do? I don't know. I don't know exactly what's going on in your case. I have to review it for myself before I can answer a question like that. Let's see. Egal says, any information for the biometric fingerprint? It's been no more than 8 weeks since they received my application. Is it normal now? Yeah, it's going to take many months until you get it. Freewa says, when in start interview? The interviews will happen whenever they can. So it's up to them. There's no they haven't given us any dates. AKA follows up, how do you think this is gonna win Trump or Biden? Who do you think is gonna win, you mean? I don't know. I don't really care either. It's like they're both bad, so I don't really follow that stuff. I focus on my business. I have no control over that kind of stuff, so I don't waste my time on it. Collie says, sir, I applied for citizenship this year but didn't get any response. Yeah, you gotta wait and your turn, that's all. Joy asks, how long does it take to process I-130 after interview? However long they want to take. Els ask, hello, I was wondering, when are they going to open the embassy servers? I don't know, ask them and then give me a call. Let me know once you know. They're not telling us anything like that. It's kind of like saying, when is the COVID-19 virus going to end? I don't know. They haven't told us. When they do, I'll tell all of you. I'll reveal all the secrets. Well, the question is the timelines. It's not up to me. The officers don't know a lot of times. There's so many different factors that go into this that you can't just sit and worry about times. You just have to wait. It sucks, but it's just the way it is right now. There's no timelines that are reliable in the system as we're going forward. And so that creates a lot of havoc. So and there's no way anyone can answer it. If you have an immigration lawyer telling you it's going to be this for sure, without, my clients ask that, and I have to always spend time explaining the whole situation before I can explain, these are estimates and stuff. But if someone guarantees you a time, that's not going to be a reliable person. Issy says, what can I do if my permanent residency card expired? Well, you may need to renew it, but it depends on what kind of card it is, where you're at, what your history is. So you should consult with an immigration attorney first to see what kind of issues may exist. And if none, you file for a renewal, but it depends on if the issues exist or not. So we got to dive in deep to see how that's going to work out. All right, let's see. So, I want to thank everyone who's joined us. As a reminder, we're on TikTok at Immigration Lawyer John if you have an account there. And there's an account for Instagram, JQK Law Firms, the same name as the YouTube account, which I'm live here looking down, but the camera's on the top. So for the recording, for future people who wanted to watch this, We have a lot of clips. We have images of my approval notices, which have timelines on them there. We have immigration news updates, things in the news that are even not immigration, but they're fun facts that are popping up, interesting news tidbits, history of immigration, history of biographies of famous people immigration, all this stuff, all this talk about immigration, understanding. Just check it out on the social media websites. I think y'all are going to enjoy it a lot going over this kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. But I want to thank you. We're doing this live now, just one day a week on Wednesdays to kind of catch up on what's going on with the questions and to go over stuff you have. If you want to schedule a private consultation, just email me at info@jqklaw.com. We'll take it there. And I'm actually in the process of getting something called a bot. It's a computer system where if you communicate with it and ask your questions, it'll try to pop up videos on mine that have already answered your specific questions. And if you can't find the answer there, then you can schedule a consultation my time. It'll be through Facebook. For those on YouTube, if you comment, eventually there'll be a link that pops up. It'll take you there, as well as WhatsApp. So if you're a WhatsApp user, Instagram user, I'll take you to this Facebook kind of site for you to go through these questions, and hopefully it can help you out. Tanya follows up, thank you for the service. It helps a lot. God bless you as well. AKA asks, do you think if I constantly ask for an expedite that will help even though they keep denying it? I mean, I don't know. Use your judgment. That's all I can say. Tanya says, God bless you as well. Thank you. Issy says, can you say your email again? Sure, it's info@jqklaw.com. J as in Jack, Q as in Queen, K as in King. If you're watching on TikTok, if you go to my profile, there'll be a link tree that has all my social media links, all that kind of stuff. My website should be there, which will have a link to my email address, all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to find it there. But if you email me first, describe the immigration issue that you have, so I know if it's the type of case I handle, because if it's not, I'll say, I don't do these kind of cases. I'm not a good resource for that. So it's definitely really important to do that, so I don't want to waste your time, to have consultation when it's something that I won't be able to help you with. Hannah says, sir, I applied for my N400 and they tell me to make an online account to access. Can you tell? You don't have to do that, but if you want, you could do that. That's that, so yeah. Hannah says, why they asked like that? I don't know why they ask like that. Why they ask like that? It's the way they ask. I don't know what to tell you. I don't use the online systems. I do things by paper, and we get receipts by paper and contact by paper. But if you filed online or something like that, that's your prerogative. You want to get set up the account to be able to get communications like that. But they should be sending you stuff by mail too, which is my preferred way. I don't do cases where we do stuff online. Time asks a question. For an Amazon business applying for an E2 visa, is $20,000 enough? I saw your video on E2 visa and want to apply for one, and it doesn't take a lot of investment. What are the chances of E2 visa? Well, I can't talk about chances. I don't know your business plan. I don't know how well you could present it and all that kind of stuff. And I don't have answers on how much is enough. It depends on how much your business needs, and we go over the details of it. I can't just answer give you that much information based on 2 lines like that. Hannah says, thank you for your reply. You're welcome. Jason asks, my daughter plans to have an F1 visa to enter the United States to study. F1 is a student visa. Once I start the consulate processing E1A visa, does it affect her to do it? Well, if she's on the case, it can affect her, because F1 is saying, I'm not going to go to the United States to apply for a green card. I'm going to go temporarily study. But then if she's part of a green card case, they could deny the F1 or not let her in an entry. There's a lot of different things that could happen. So we have to see what the situation is, the timelines with the EB1A, where you're at with that to really analyze the best strategy. If you're applying EB1A, you probably have an immigration lawyer already. Talk with them about it. Let's see what strategy worked the best, what to do and all that kind of stuff. There's definitely something that's needed for a private consultation, not in the public. But yeah, schedule a consultation, info@jqklaw.com. We'll analyze what's going on and see what's the best decision to take in this, because you don't want her school to go further back and everything like that. She's young and had the visa, wanted to come. And yeah, I have a person who's a green card holder, applied for a daughter. Their old attorney didn't tell them that the daughter could have got a green card along with the father. It was kind of a crazy situation. So he had a green card filed for her, and she has a student visa, comes and goes. That was fine, but again, the situation might be different than yours. Facts are always very important, so we have to dive in deep into that. Alejandro on YouTube asks, hi JQ, we know the processing times have increased in the USCIS. I got my work permit based on marriage. My work permit will expire next June 2021. When do you think I have to start the renewal? Well, you can start the renewal within 6 months before it expires. You might as well start sooner rather than later. So once the 6-month mark comes, January 2020-ish or something, whatever that 180-day mark is, then file for the renewal. It doesn't hurt. Just paper, filling out some paper and mailing it in. User 314 asks, we had huge move for EB3 in October bulletin. Any particular reason this was? What future holds? Yes. Because Trump shut down big portions of the immigration system when it comes to granting visas, there are a lot of green cards based on family members who didn't get it. So people who filed for their family members, those family members end up not getting their green cards. And they're on hold until these bans go away. So that opened up a lot of unused space, which were given to the employment-based category, in particular the employment-based third category, and in particular that, the Indian category. And so that moved up a lot and opened things up. And then USCIS said we could file the adjustment of status cases. So all the, especially Indians, I have a lot of cases and some Chinese who are doing the H-1Bs and stuff, they were able to apply, well, they're applying now. We have a couple of these cases they got to file. And so that was the reason. The travel bans caused less visas to be issued to family members that are getting green cards, and those leftover unused visas were transferred to the employment-based category. It's a kind of a weird situation. It doesn't happen regularly, but it happened here. Alejandro says, thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate your question and coming on. Okay, Olivia asks, on an H-1B, how long can you be outside the United States and still working for a U.S. company? I don't know. I don't have an exact answer to that. Just that's, I don't know. Ask the employer's immigration attorney who filed the H-1B. Layman says, U.S. Embassy, are they reopened in another country? Some are open, some are not. It depends on where you're looking and what kind of case you have. Because I'll do some interviews for some people, not the others. Gil says, hi, my conditional green card will expire in November 2021, and now my marriage life is not going good. Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that. But what you need to do is individually, privately, go talk with an immigration lawyer as soon as possible. You need to plan for the contingency that your marriage won't work out and then divorce possible. And when you have a 2-year conditional green card, if you get divorced while it's still there, is one of the most complicated and annoying parts of the immigration process, because you just creates a ton of work and a lot of headache and time and all this kind of stuff you got to go through. So it's the most important thing in this kind of situation. If you have a conditional green card, your marriage is not working out, to immediately individually go and talk with an immigration in private to plan out what the next steps are. For example, you need to heavily document the relationship to show that it's real. And so right now, get the document. So situations that happen where you get in a fight, you leave the house, and you don't have access to documents, for example. And you do other things like, document if there's abuse, what the abuse was about. And maybe you get the police involved if there is abuse. Don't shy away from that. Or maybe, obviously, if it's real abuse, not to try to hurt the other person by making things up. Document the days, because they'll want details of what the abuse are. What day was it? What time of day was it? What happened? This happened. They'll want stories and affidavits and all this kind of stuff. So you definitely need to just consult with an immigration attorney in private. So Ophelia asks, how do you get a work permit if you aren't a U.S. citizen? Well, Sophia, that's a big question. It depends on what categories you get in, what kind of employment you can get in, what your background is. There's so many things. It's too big a question. What I do is I just talk with you individually during consultation and see what you need, and I say, okay, what fits there, instead of just saying everything, and then because it's just too open-ended to ask a question like that. Rodara says, hello, I'm waiting for my interview for about 6 months. What should I do? You should continue waiting. Kuji asked, tell about I-485 status in the United States. Well, what about it? It's not I can't, you got to be a little more specific. Ehsan Khan says, my interview is coming for I-751 jointly filed, but I have arrest for domestic violence, no case filed. Do you expect interview results for this interview? First of all, you should 100% have a lawyer, and it could be a headache. It's a serious situation. So talk with a lawyer in private and have the lawyer come with you to the interview. Bio says, hi, my asylum USCIS online account says decision was pending for years, and now it's application pending. Please let me know what the difference is. I don't have to see for myself, but if it says pending, then it says pending. I don't know what to tell you. It's still pending. Lee asks, is I-485 interview open for marriage cases? Yeah, they're doing it slowly, but they're doing it. I've had marriage green card cases approved. Sophia, thank you for the points you're sending me on TikTok. Much appreciated. If you had the chance, please go to Google, type in JQK Law, and my Google's business stuff will come on the right-hand side. Please leave a 5-star review. That'd be much appreciated. Thank you very much. Issy, thanks for sending email. I'll check it out once I get off live here. And hopefully you just broke down the details of your case. I got a better understanding of what kind of services that you need. Okay. Now we have some more questions on YouTube. Can I schedule interview with USCIS or must wait? Yeah, USCIS schedules interviews with you, not you with them. So you have to wait for your turn. Oscar says, can you self-petition yourself for a green card? Yes, you can self-petition in certain categories. So the EB-1A, extraordinary ability, this is if you're in the top of the field. There's a national interest waiver if you're doing work that's in the national interest of the United States. These are self-petitions possible. If you are doing an EB-5 investment, you're investing a lot of money to create jobs in the United States, you could potentially, it's essentially a self-petition, but you could file that as well. So there's different aspects like that. They're hard, they're only for the top, but those are possible. There might be some minor nuanced ones that are possible too, but those are the big ones. Bio says, thank you so much, you're welcome. Late Man says, very kind of you, sir, for doing this live video. Thank you, appreciate it. You're welcome, God bless you. Thank you, Late Man, I really thank you for the kind words. Sharzad says, could you talk about 4 years and 1 day rule for citizenship? Sure, I have a lot of videos on this already on YouTube, but essentially, if you're outside, if you're a green card holder, you normally, in most cases, unless there's an exception, you have to wait 5 years to apply for U.S. citizenship, at least. And there's a lot of requirements. One of them is you can't be outside the United States for more than 6 months, and definitely not more than 1 year. If you're outside the United States for more than 1 year, potentially it could be a cause for abandonment and losing your green card. But if that doesn't happen, and you want to file for citizenship, you have to restart the 5-year timeline from the time you came back. There's a rule that says there's a 4-year, 1 day rule. So let's say you've been out for a year, you come back to the United States, 4 years and 1 day after re-entry to the United States, you could apply for citizenship because that'll be fixing up the 5-year aspects that you need. However, this administration says, yeah, that's 4-year, 1 day is one thing, but you still spend more than 6 months out. So there's another requirement that you can't be out for more than 6 months. So then you have to prove that why you were outside for more than 6 months and that you didn't leave and you're really living here, all this kind of stuff. So I don't believe in using the 4-year, 1 day rule. I believe in using the 4-year, 6 month and 1 day rule, if not just the full 5-year rule, because of how difficult they're making the whole system out to be. And that's a safe thing to do in those kind of cases. As long as you want to take a risk or you have a good explanation of why the absence was there, but you did not really abandon your status. You had a house here, you had work here, or something like that. Lee asks, I have a question about my H-1B. During H-1B transfer, if I quit the job, still have the grace period for H-1B? I don't know. I have to see exactly what the timelines are. But if you quit, I think even there, the first job, you still have grace period. But I'm not sure. I have to check on that. So talk with the immigration in private. Yasin asks, why they still did not start the K-1 visa interview, Morocco embassy, for example. Some embassies have started, some haven't. So it's up to the embassy. I've had a K-1 approved in New Zealand, but you know, Morocco is not happening. I have a case in Turkey. Turkey's not responding. It just depends on the embassy. Natasha says, how long after you received a C-31 VAWA before you get your medical? The C-31, that's the work permit aspect. That's unrelated. They'll send you a notice for the medical you can get at that time, but it's up to you and your attorney when you decide to do that. I can't give you exact timelines because I don't know your case and how much time is needed. User 75 on TikTok says, can I apply for a fiancé visa for my fiancé since I'm asylum? No, a fiancé visa could only be submitted by a U.S. citizen. A non-U.S. citizen, a green card holder, or asylee cannot file for a fiancé. Alan asks, my interview was in March, but it was canceled due to the pandemic. When they rescheduled the interview is in New York City. Thanks. I think you're asking when it's going to be scheduled. I don't know. I have similar cases that were canceled in March and they haven't rescheduled yet here in Los Angeles. You're just going to have to wait. Sandeep says, how are you? I'm doing good. You know, I slept well last night, so that was nice. I hear the kids yell in the background. They didn't yell throughout the night for some reason, so it was a good night's sleep. But really busy. You know, the Trump administration makes life very difficult as an immigration attorney, constantly fighting, arguing. Can't wait till things get better. It's been really tough. And so there's just a lot of work. Business is good, but it's not the best kind of business because you're helping people who are really being tortured by the system when they shouldn't be. So it's a kind of a sad situation when you're dealing with all these cases. I wish it wasn't this way. So may I ask, how long do they take to change the status online in USCIS portal from processing to the next step? The online portal is not a reliable thing, so there's no how long it takes. I don't rely on the online portal. I don't think it's a reliable system. User 75 says, thank you for your answer. You're welcome. God bless you. We have another question on Instagram. Ushan asks, I applied for my passport on October 3rd. Do you have any idea when I'll get my passport? No. User 75 says, can I be sponsored from another country since someone has asylum? Can I be sponsored from another country since someone has asylum? The question doesn't make sense, User 75. Don't know what to tell you. Let's see. Abdel asks, hi there, I have filed my adjustment status application April 2020 and still haven't received biometrics. Yeah, you have to wait whenever it comes. Saib says, hello sir, good evening to you too. Shahzad says, if I was out of the United States for more than 6 months or less than 1 year, could I apply for citizenship 4 years, 6 months, and 1 day after I came back to citizenship? Yeah, I would wait the 4 years, 6 months, and 1 day, or better yet, the 5 years. I can't say exactly what's going, because I got to know your whole facts. I got to count the days myself. I need to know the reason you left. I need to see which field officer you're dealing with. I need to see your personal background. So I don't know, Shahzad. This is really something you got to contact an immigration lawyer private about to look at the whole situation. I don't want to give just quick guidance that's not appropriate for you like that. Dustin asks, hi, do they give out work permits first before the marriage interview or vice versa? It depends on whichever they get to first. If your work permit gets through first, get that. If the green card happens or the interview, that comes first. There's no fixed way. Yes, I have a green card in December 2019. I got married in India. So how long my husband will be here? I don't know. I don't know. That's not a question I can answer or anyone can answer. You have to look at the whole situation, talk about it. Embassies have been shut down in India. So there's a backlog of cases. It's just too much. Soya asks, any new updates for USCIS for green card application approval? That's too wide a question to be able to answer. M. Laura asks, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Okay. Marlene says, any EAD C31 category just for 1 year? I don't know. I don't remember what category C31 is. If that's asylum, they're going to start doing those for 1 year. But I'm not sure. Ahmad says, I filed my adjustment status last month. Just got my receipts. How long is it going to take? I don't know. I don't know exactly what kind of case you have to tell you that. So go to uscis.gov and check the timelines there. They're not reliable. But if you're looking for unreliable information, I'd rather go to the government than come to me or another immigration and ask. Let's see. All right. So we're about to hit the 30-minute mark. So if you had one last or two last questions, let me know. Rocky asked, if somebody has asylum in the United States and his parents live in another country, how his parents can come for meeting? They could apply for a visa, and if they get approved, they could try coming to the United States. Ahmad says, marriage-based case. Ahmad, it depends. It varies depending on which field office it is, your background, all this kind of stuff. So there's no answers when it comes to what you're asking. Rosa says, hi, is there any updates about I-765 premium processing? No, they haven't filled us in on what's happening. They're going to start making it where if you pay a lot of extra money, you can have your work permit approved much faster. But they passed the law, but we haven't gotten an update on how that's going to work factually and what the system is and what the form is, all that kind of stuff. So we're still waiting on that. It's a lot of money. I got to have a real need for the work permit, but that's going to be cool. That's there. What I like is the premium processing is going to happen for people changing and becoming student visa holders. That's going to be interesting. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll catch you all next week, next Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific live. In the meantime, check out the recordings of this, the clips of this, the history of immigration, the news about immigration, the tidbits of immigration, images about approval notices and updates, all this kind of stuff on the JQK Law Firm YouTube page, on the Instagram page, and a lot of times on TikTok as well, like posting. But, TikTok's only videos. But check it all out. Facebook as well. I don't really plug Facebook as much, but there's a lot of stuff going on there. All right, everyone. Until next one, have a good one. God bless. Bye-bye.